Welcome back to another week of Coach's Corner. It's been a busy week on the football field as teams just wrapped up their first full week of practice. And joining us today is Central Lyon George Little Rock's Curtis Even. Coach, the first week in the books, what is the biggest thing you've learned about this year's Lions crew?
Well, like you said, it's a lot of new faces for us this year. It's been a good week though. We stayed healthy. Our kids are progressing every day in practice, and those are the little things you look for, especially with a lot of new faces on the football field. That senior leadership to take over and to just start guiding these younger guys that are going to start playing a big role for your football team.
And coming off a big year last year, going undefeated as the 2A state champions, how have you really seen this group embrace the challenge that's going to come with that now?
Yeah, I think this group all along had that expectation, though, and even before we won it last year. I think this group of seniors have been a very they've done very well at the lower levels. A lot of very accomplished in their other sports, and so these guys have a winning mentality no matter what they do. And so going into this year, they didn't talk about it much. We didn't talk about it much. The past in the past. They're not putting expectation on themselves, the pressure. It's a day-to-day work mentality that they have. And so far, I've been really impressed on how they've handled a fall camp and just rolling into this new season.
Well, you mentioned it. After this first week of practice, got a scrimmage in the other day. What's something that's kind of stood out that could maybe be a big strength for this year's team?
I think the biggest thing is that we're going to rely on a lot of the depth that, like kids that played last year a lot. Like maybe we got ahead early on and those kids came in the game, and they got a lot of experience. And early on this season, we're seeing a lot of that experience early on here really help us. They're into it. They understand what the philosophy, the understanding of the game that we're trying to achieve within the practice. And so we're really moving faster in practice than what we thought we would be because of a lot of that experience of those younger guys coming in. So, so far it's been, I'm impressed with those guys. I'm impressed with our seniors, and we're very diverse with our kids. And hopefully we can keep building depth and. Ultimately, you want to get to that point where you feel comfortable no matter what happens in the game, you get that next guy up mentality.
Definitely, and no question, last year's seniors definitely left their mark on this program. But how special is it year after year to watch those next group of leaders step up and make the most of their opportunity?
Yeah, there's no doubt. That senior class we had last year is very special, very talented, obviously winning it in football and then turn around and win it in basketball too. That speaks volume for what that senior class brought to our school, our community. It's one of the 4 state championships we have in football. That senior class is also runner-up in 2020 on the football field, the runner-up in basketball in 2023, I guess. Or 2022, and then winning it in 2023. So I mean, they were around, and they really that winning mentality, and you really hope that bleeds down to the younger generations that are coming through. And like I said, that's we'll miss those guys. We had 5 or 6 of those guys move on to the next level, so it's been fun to follow them with their football journeys to the next level. And but yeah, that's part of high school football. The next class comes in, and we're very fortunate this year that we have a very talented class, a senior class this year. And we got some great leaders in that class, and we're excited for them.
Well, so glad you mentioned that, because it was a big summer for the Lions and college commitments. As a coach, how fulfilling is it to be a part of that journey and see them turn those dreams and goals into a reality at the next level?
Yeah, it's been pretty special. Not every day do you get every Big Ten school coming through your school, some Big 12 schools. Every day there's Division I schools coming in and out, and let alone some of the great programs that are around our area with SDSU, NDSU, USD, Northern Iowa. And so every day you see faces and you talk on the phone, and you hope and those guys get recruited. And Zach kind of set that tone for us last year by getting those schools those colleges into our school, and a lot of phone calls that took place. And then Zach finally committed to the University of Iowa. And then Reese came along, and Graham, and so it's one of those things. You spend a lot of time recruiting with the recruiters and with those kids, trying to find a good fit for them. And you want ultimately what's best for them and their families, and so far it's been a very rewarding for our community, for our school, for our kids, for those families. And so we've only had like 4 or 5 Iowa kids ever in the history of Central Lyon George Little Rock. So it's not, to have back-to-back 3 guys that commit there, it's pretty special. And, we as a coaching staff know that for sure. And I think our community does too.
Very special for sure. This season going into year 7 for you as the head coach at Central Lyon George Little Rock. When you reflect back on the journey, what's made coaching so rewarding for you?
Yeah, you look back, I was fortunate enough to play for Central Lyon George Little Rock under Toby Lorenzen. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He set that precedence of winning, the community buy-in support. That was all set before I took over, and so when you take over a program like that, you just want to hold those high standards. You want that community buy-in to stay there, the kids to look forward to the opportunity to put on that Central Lyon George Little Rock helmet and take the field. That's a perception that that we want our guys to look forward to from a little kid standpoint all the way through. And I think not only myself but our assistant coaches. We have many assistant coaches that also played for our program, so their buy-in is just as important as mine is. And we've added some outside guys that have learned what that buy-in takes, and we just have a great support system with our coaches, our assistant coaches, and then on top of that, our community and our parents. And so the transition has been pretty easy, to be honest. Obviously winning does help. There's no doubt about that. But I really feel like our the school system, from the football program to community, they're all in the same vision, and we want that same goal at the end of the season, and that's to hold that big trophy up.
Definitely. We're just about 2 weeks away now from that first kickoff. What is the biggest thing that you're looking forward to?
Oh, I get excited every year just to see the kids that take that big step. You expect Graham and Reese and Trevor Darren and Drew Denikis and those type of kids to have their footprint in, and you always wonder who's the next kid up, who's gonna be the next guy that's gonna come through and surprise you. And that's what's always fun. After that first game, you go back and you evaluate tape, and you realize like that kid put a ton of time in the weight room. He went out for multiple sports, made himself a better athlete, and now all of a sudden his junior or senior year, he's making a big impact for our football team. And for me, that's the most exciting thing, to watch those kids progress within our system and make an impact when their time is called.
All righty, well, football season is about to be here. Central Lyon George Little Rock will be back in action. Coach Eben, thank you so much for joining us on Coach's Corner.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Thank you.